That extension is not valid. That extension is not valid.
Welcome to the Synexus Conference Manager. Please enter your conference ID followed by the pound key, or press *00 to speak with an operator. If you are the conference host, press 1. Please enter your PIN followed by the pound key. Conference starting.
This meeting will come to order. Madam Secretary, could I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Platting member Goodman,
Present.
Platting member Cone,
Present.
Platting member Bush,
Dan Bush is present.
Platting member Traxler,
Present.
Platting member Burtz,
Present.
and Platting member Johnson.
And that's present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Board Member Goodman, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I hope everyone's got a copy of the agenda before them. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Thank you, Member Traxler. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Cohn, any objections? Agenda is, hearing none, the agenda is approved as written. Next item of business is we have 2 minutes that need to be approved. We have the January 18th and also the February 15th. Let's just take those very quickly one at a time. We can move through this. Do I have a motion to approve the January 18th minutes?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
I second.
Okay. Before I ask for approval, are there any corrections to the January 18th minutes? Okay. I do have one minor correction on, Madam Clerk, on the last line adjournment on the 18th, that I presided over that meeting, so instead of Chairman Leonard adjourning the meeting at 2:03, it should be Vice Chair Johnson adjourned the meeting at 2:03. Anything else on amendments? Okay, with that change, is there any objection to approving the minutes with that one minor change? Hearing none, the January 18 minutes are approved. Let's go on to the February 15 minutes, 15th minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those?
I move to approve.
Thank you. A second?
I will second.
Okay. Any discussion? Again, on the 8, line item number 8 on the adjournment, that should be changed to Chair Johnson rather than Chair Leonard. Just a minor technicality. Okay. Anything else? Any objection with that change to the minutes being approved? Hearing none, the February 15th minutes are approved with that change. Now, I've lost my agenda. As soon as I find it, we'll get back on track. Okay, the next item on our agenda today is audience participation. This is for any items that are not on today's agenda. Is anybody in the audience or online that would like to speak about anything general today? Madam Clerk, is there anyone online?
To the chair, there is no, this Fred Wagner, Platting Officer, there is nobody online at this time.
Okay, hearing no one coming forward to speak of a general nature, that portion, audience participation is closed. We have no unfinished business, and we have no reconsiderations. So we'll move right on to the order of business today, and that's public hearings. So we have one public hearing notice, that's Mountain View Farms. Could we have this staff report on that, please?
I think we need to do the mailings and also the ex parte first.
Okay. Our planning officer's got me back on track, so let's get back. I need to read the ex parte and conflict of interest report. So to the board, on Mountain View Farms, do you or any member of your immediate family have a substantial financial interest in any property affected by this decision? Or will you recognize a foreseeable profit as a result of this decision? Hearing none from the board. Second, to the board, have you received or otherwise engaged in ex parte contact with the applicant, other parties interested in the application, or members of the public concerning the application or issues presented in this application, either before the application or during any period of time the matter is submitted for decision outside of the public process provided by the borough? Hearing none, are you able to be impartial in this decision? I see everybody nodded their head, okay. Now is it time for the staff report. Oh, okay, public hearing. I'll read the public hearing, then we'll ask for the staff report. Okay, public hearing, Mountain View Farms. The request is to create 5 lots from Parcel 1, MSB waiver 82-56-PWM, recorded as 8274W, tax ID number 17 North 02 East 10B 006, to be known as Mountain View Farms, containing 10 plus or minus acres. The property is located north of East Lauter Road, east of North DeLand Street, within the northwest quarter, Section 10, Township 17 North, Range 02 East, Seward Meridian, Alaska, in Assembly District 2. May we have the staff report? Oh, mailings. We'll get there.
There was 16 public notices mailed February 14th, 2024.
Thank you. Now we'll go. Now staff report, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there is a handout that is titled Additions Amendments to Mountain View Farms MSB Case 2024-005 in your handout package, and we will be referring to those. This proposed subdivision is creating 5 lots. Access for the lots will be from a private road ending in a cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac will be constructed to Borough Residential Street Standards. That's at recommendation number 6, and petitioner to provide private road maintenance agreement pursuant to MSB 4320-100C4. That is amended recommendation for conditions of approval number 5 in the handout. Lot sizes vary from 1.67 acres to 2.28 acres. Lots 1 and 3 are side-by-side 30-foot wide flag lots. The flagpole portion of these lots will be overlaid with a common access easement, and Lot 5 is a single flag lot. Pole width is 40-foot wide as dictated by code. A geotechnical report was submitted pursuant to code. DPW Pre-Design and Engineering Division note that SW/GP is not a soils type under the USCS. So amended recommendation condition of approval number 4 is requiring an updated soils report. The City of Palmer City Manager made comments regarding the use of 4 flag lots out of a total of 5 lots should be unacceptable. The street should be extended to provide frontage for all 5 lots. The building inspector noted that advisement of a flag lot driveway with requirements, existing materials, vehicles, barn location in relation to the property lines would be helpful. Also inquired if the existing public use easement cul-de-sac would remain. He's talking about the cul-de-sac that is to the east of the property. Staff notes that the existing PUE cul-de-sac will remain as it was not created on a plat, and it is not a temporary turnaround. Staff is not aware that the building inspector's inquiry was addressed. However, driveway requirement widths are not addressed in Title 43, and the existing materials, vehicle, and barn location is on the parcel to the south and does not prevent this platting action, even if these are in setback. 2 responses to the notice of public hearing were received. One was a non-objection. The other, a concern from the property owners directly east, noted a private easement on the north boundary of this parcel, which is shown on the plat, and the question of section line easement is addressed in the addition of recommended condition of approval number 10 that is listed in the handout. NSTAR had originally requested a utility easement within the common access area. They have since withdrawn that request. And that's also their letter that I got this morning is also in your handout. I believe it's handout number 2. So that we don't need the added recommendation of condition number 11. So in conclusion, the plat of Mountain View Farms is consistent with Alaska statute and borough code. A soils report was submitted. Legal and physical access will exist to each lot. There were no objections from borough departments or divisions, outside agencies, or utilities. 2 responses to the notice of public hearing were received, 1 non-objection and 1 concern. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of Mountain View Farms with a total of 8 findings of fact and 10 recommendations for conditions of approval. The added 3 findings of fact are number 6, lots 1 through 3 are 30-foot wide flag lots pursuant to MSB 4320-300E5A. Lot 5 is a 40-foot wide pole flag lot pursuant to MSB 4320-300E5B. Lots 1 through 3 flagpole portions are overlaid with a common access easement pursuant to MSB 4320-300E4A. The added recommendation of approval is number 10, surveyor to provide section line easement documentation for the existence or non-existence of section line easements for Section 10 and Section 3. Amended condition of approval number 4 to read, provide an updated soils report to identify USCS soil types only. And amended condition of approval number 5 to read, provide document for private road maintenance easement, Provide document for private road maintenance to platting staff pursuant to MSB 4320-100C4.
Thank you very much. I will now invite the Are there any questions for staff by the board? No discussion, but questions for the staff this time. Seeing none. Seeing no questions for staff, I'll invite the applicant or the applicant's representative. No comment. Okay. So at this time, I will open the floor to public comment on Mountain View Farms. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Please come up, state your name, and sign in on the register.
All right, and I'll sign in here in just a minute. Good afternoon. My name is John Dementi. I'm the airport manager for the city of Palmer. And I just wanted to make I have a no objection comment that basically says this subdivision is going to be on the south end of the Palmer Airport. And the south-facing runway is the runway that is primarily used through the summer. So this subdivision will be within a 1/4 mile of low altitude, high power aircraft. It's going to be noisy, a little bit noisy anyway. And I just wanted to make that and enter that into public record. Also wanted to say that because of its location in proximity to the airport, there also is an altitude at which FAA notification needs to be made. So I'm available at the Palmer Airport to assist with that if necessary. That's all I have. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much for those comments. Any more public comments? Anyone online? Okay, we'll close the public comment portion of this. And now, Mr. Hanson, would you like to address the board?
Good afternoon. My name is Craig Hansen, representing the developer, and I'm the surveyor for the project. The developer's aware of all of the conditions of approval. No problems with those at all. We're in agreement with those. I would point out that which the airport manager just spoke of, concerns about the end of the runway. I've spoke with the developer about that a fair amount, and we'd like to put some kind of a note on the plat itself. Haven't worked through the details, haven't even talked to the platting tech about it. But we do feel we'd like to have something on there that covers the relevant points, so that note will be forthcoming before the final plat is put out there. And beyond that, I really have nothing to do but take questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Hanson? Yes, Mr. Traxler.
Why not build a road? What's up with the flag lots instead of just simply building a road?
Primarily land use. We take a look at, what do we have? We've got a 10-acre parcel. These are fairly large lots. We're going to have estate houses, homes in there. And if you take and consider what it takes to put a borough standard road, you'd have to have a full cul-de-sac in there. And just stop and think about the size of a cul-de-sac by the time you put your ditches and your right-of-way. So the reality is, it's going to gobble up way more space than is really needed for essentially what would be 4 homes that are actually using that road. They would prefer to have it a private enclave, so to speak, where they've got a driveway. Comments have been made, a lot of comments have been made that were put forth with this plat that are, to me, they're somewhat superfluous. The notion that we're putting off the cost, that fails to understand how development works. Any lot that's created, the price of that lot encompasses the cost of whatever development road is there for it. So in this case, they'll have a driveway, and that will obviously be put off onto the lots as well, just as would have a road been. But really it comes down to that land use. These roads that we're building for subdivision, yes, they're important. They need to be that size. But when you go into a small little block of land and you want to have a private neighborhood, you simply don't need those great big turnarounds. You don't need all of that space in those unique cases.
Thank you.
I have one question, Mr. Hanson. You did mention something in your opening comments about attaching a note to this plot about there will be height restrictions based upon FAA regulations?
If that's necessary, I'm not really certain. It was something that we really just discussed just in the last day or so. The developer would like to keep his own, liability covered, so he wants to put some kind of a note. We're limited with regards to exactly what notes we can put on the plat, and that's why we'll be working with Fred and working with the techs on what note actually could be put on there to cover, any liabilities that could arise in the future.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Mr. Platting, Officer Fred, there are no requirements by code that be attached to the plat. Can you answer that question?
I don't think there's a requirement by code to put it on, but I don't think it's prohibited by code. And I agree that I agree with the petitioner's representative and the petitioner themselves that it's a good idea to do it. It looks out for the public. They're not required to do it. I think that we have crafted language similar on a few other plats with adjacent runways, so we can help with that, and that'll just be a plat note. So I want to thank the petitioners and the representative for offering to add that note, because I do think it's valuable. It might be something we look at in a future code change to require properties within a certain distance or something. I don't know. It depends on how that goes. So thank you. And
yeah, thank you for that explanation. I do believe that, it's a buyer's responsibility to do due diligence, but I believe it's also incumbent upon the developer to offer as much information as he can to protect the public. So thank you for bringing that up. Any more questions for Mr. Hanson? Mr. Bush?
Yeah, Mr. Hanson, have you done your research on the section line existence on the north side?
Yeah.
And also, have you considered a PUE that one of the public members has requested?
Yeah. The answer is no. The section line easement research is not done. He's looking at it right now. This came as a surprise to us when it was said that there is an easement on that north side. I don't think there is. It's been common on everything else that we've seen that there just aren't section line easements there. I thought that we had actually done the research for it. I texted one of my guys back in the office and he said no, they hadn't actually done the research for it. With regards to dedicating that easement on the south side, it's not ours to dedicate. And so that wasn't considered at the outset either.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hanson. It sounds like your research is forthcoming and the borough's going to be looking at that.
Yeah, as you saw, there's a condition of approval that will do that research.
All right,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Hanson? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Mr. Hanson.
Thank you.
Is the board ready to make a motion?
I can make that motion.
Mr. Cohn?
I move to approve the preliminary plat of Mountain View Farms created from parcel MSB waiver 74 West within the Northwest Quarter, Section 10, Township North 17, North Range 02 East, Seward Meridian, Alaska, based on the amended 8 finding of facts and contingent upon the 10 recommendations of approval.
Thank you, Mr. Cohn. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. We'll open it up for discussion to the board. I did have one question, and maybe Mr. Wagner can answer that. I didn't see it in the, or maybe I did, in the amended conditions of approval. I saw that 2 utility companies had requested a utility easement. Has that been addressed properly?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, since the request from the utility company for the easement around the flag lots, or the flag portions of lots 1 through 3, they have rescinded their request, and that can be seen in the handout They have both the request from NSTAR and then the following follow-up email saying that they no longer required that and had no further comment.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. I do see that in handout number 2, where NSTAR has withdrawn there. There was also, MEA had a request for an easement. Am I mistaken on that? I thought there was 2 public utilities that had originally weighed in.
Let me review the staff report, and I will get back with you real quick here.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. While Mr. Wagner's doing some research, are there any other discussions among the board members on this plat? Yes, Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Looking back at the staff report, there was not a request from MEA. They didn't respond, but MTA had requested the common access easements be labeled as common access and utility easements. However, as we stated previously, with it being a private road, we wouldn't do easements of this nature, and through the flag lots is not appropriate. They have to be outside. So their request was not within code.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Any other discussion on this request, Mountain View Farms? Are we ready for the question? Okay, I call the question. Madam Clerk, would you
Ask if there's no.
well, okay, let's make this simple. Is there any objection? Seeing and hearing no objection, the request is approved unanimously. Now I find my agenda again, and we'll move on to next order of business. No miscellaneous business. So, plating staff, plating officer comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fred Wagner, Platting Officer. I have, I think you'll notice we have no cases for the March 21st meeting, so our next meeting will be on April 4th. I'm not certain how many cases we have for that meeting at this time. We do have cases, though, so we're thinking around 3 cases, so that's what we have. Madam Clerk, do you have anything?
No comment.
Do we have any comments from the board? Well, hearing none, no board comments. This meeting is adjourned.